Don't look under the internet.
Just do that the
That's
whole
good.
episode, please.
Do that again, but lower and softer.
Hey, Tim. How's it going?
Anyway.
Oh,
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Michael.
Welcome to Don't Look Under the Internet.
Thank you.
This is an internet comedy horror podcast about scary things like Jason's butt. Got him! Got him! I have
Damn it.
here with me Jason.
Hello. My butt is terrifying, actually.
I also have Doug.
what up, everybody? It's me.
I also have Matthew.
I'm the scariest thing.
And then there's me, ASMR Michael. And I'm going to talk into the mic real sensual. And I'm going to do, what's that thing they do on some of the fucking videos where they're just like,
Like
have
drag
audio-
their
your
nails.
acrylic
across
nails.
the-
Ooh.
Yeah, you got to be like,
Yeah. I'll
Wow, my
start
mic
doing
doesn't even
that.
pick that up.
I'd prefer it if you did like those TikTok NPC streams where you like pretend to eat the little. Yeah, there you go. You got it.
Thanks for the
thanks for the
glizzy.
sub.
Mhm.
Thanks for the bits.
Thanks for the glizzies. No.
Slow that video down. You got a good clip there.
I'll give you a better one.
Yeah, we'll clip that.
Ooh.
Naomi,
Clip that. Yeah,
you know what
someone?
to do.
Anyway, I'm gonna hit us all with a little bit of duty housekeeping.
Clap over your head.
So
Whew.
on today's
Almost
episode
missed it.
of I'm Housekeeping today, I got some folks that I want to shiggity shout out. We have Extra Crispy. What's up, Extra Crispy? This is on patreon.com, patreon.com/deludipod. Extra Crispy. What do you guys think of the name Extra Crispy? I think it's pretty good. I think it's not bad.
It's
I
fine.
think it's all right.
Depends on what it's describing.
It's not bad. Well,
Yeah.
that's
Is it
actually a good
person?
point. Is it Peebus?
Is it Peebus, Mike?
It's everything that you can think of.
If it's Crispy Peebus, then
Does it have
I'm in.
11 herbs and spices?
It might actually go with the next one. Because the
11
next
herbs
one,
and
the next
spices.
patron,
If it
Yeah.
was, I would. Then it becomes an 11 out of 10.
the
For all
other
the
patron,
herbs and spices.
the other patron is Garlic Flash Sale. I have far too much garlic. So that garlic might be a little extra crispy.
I saw that one. That was fucking. That's a good one.
That's a
That's
good
still
one.
an 11 out of 10.
That's pretty solid. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a good
also
good
one.
props to
Panic in
them
your
for
voice.
paying more than they need to on Patreon. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Garlic
you got-
flash
you-
sale. I have too much garlic.
You can all do that. You know that, right? Like any of you that are patrons or not, like you can give us more money. You realize
You
that,
can.
right?
The sky's the
Hell
limit,
yeah.
honestly. We don't
won't
want
be
to
a
limit
limit on
you.
it.
Yeah, if you
Any
thought you were
extra
being
stuff.
stopped, you're not being stopped. You're fine. Like give us more money.
If you're
Money
currently
me.
subbed,
Me money
you could
more.
literally change that today.
Yeah, right now, do it while it's live, and I'll shout you out again. Probably not though.
There's just
If I
12
see,
easy
if I see an
payments.
email come in while we're recording, I will shout you out middle of the episode.
Hell yeah, brother. That's what I like.
I'll
to hear.
shout at you in the middle of the episode.
I will demean you
Yeah.
and your
Um,
family.
Boys, that concludes today's episode of House of Keeping. I'm very interested in the topic we have today, not only as like a person, but as a Midwesterner. I would say
I
this hits
fucking
very
hate
close to
you,
home.
Thomas.
Yeah, you got him.
And I may not be a religious person, but I do like the concept of an angel looking over all of us, a guardian angel, if you would. Only this guardian angel seems to have a different type of agenda. Today, we're talking about Midwest Angelica.
Analog horror. Analog horror. Analog
Cheers,
horror.
everybody.
Analog
Wait,
horror.
I
have
got
a
you
Mountain Dew.
actually this time. Hold on.
Nice. Oh, right. I forgot. Sorry.
Hey, you can do it. What are you drinking? What
Oh
are
my
you
God, it's been a
thinking?
while.
There's a bottle here and it's empty.
Yeah.
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 Womp.
What are you drinking? Real quick.
Maker's Mark, because they were out of Buffalo Trace at the drive-through alcohol stand next to my house.
I've got Kirkland vodka because it was $19 for a handle, and it tastes like Grey Goose.
I have
Oh,
a
yeah.
Fresca.
I have Mountain Dew.
I've also got
Out and
ants
move.
actively crawling on me, and it's really upsetting.
Cheers, everybody.
We've got ants.
We got ants. Yeah, we're talking about Midwest Angelica today. This one's been on the radar for a little bit. It was actually referenced a while ago, if you all remember, when the creator of Minerva Alliance was on our show. Shout out to Minerva Alliance again. But they mentioned that this is one of their top projects that they're enjoying at the moment, and I see why.
Yeah.
We'll get into
we
it.
slept on this one.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
why we
we'll
haven't
get
done this
into
yet.
it.
It was on our fucking like to-do list forever, and I think
Well,
we just got lazy.
Full disclosure, it's not a lazy thing. I thought there
here we
was
go.
more. I thought there was more to it than there actually was. I never dived too deep, but from what I heard everyone talking about, they're like, "This is like the best analog horror. This is incredible." Blah blah. I thought it was going to be like 50 or 60 videos. It's actually a pretty quick burn through. It's only, I want to say,
Well,
like 12,
it's-
13.
Yeah, it's
videos
not
on
bad
YouTube?
at all. It's like and
It is
even-
sectioned into parts.
Mhm.
Though it's still going, it
Which-
seems like, because there's
Yeah.
It is, yeah. Like it's actually there's recent uploads, and by recent I mean
month ago.
January or something.
Mm.
But still, like that's pretty recent in the world of what we cover. So
Yeah.
One of these
so-
years, we will go backwards in time and revisit some of the things that we decided to cover the first 2 seasons.
What am
of
I,
and decide,
Andy
"Yeah,
Bashago?
yes.
how do I kick people
How do
out?
I rewind like the last 40 seconds of
How do
my
I
life?
kill myself? So
Jesus
Trigger
Christ.
warning.
Jesus. Okay.
Jesus.
And we're
It's still-
unmonetized.
And
kinda-
this video
let's
doesn't
kinda-
matter anymore.
let's kind of get into Midwest a little bit. Do you guys want me to kind of kick off this thing? Because where would you start if not the beginning? You know?
Well, you are in that section on the outline, so
Yeah, so let me just kick it off here. So, the great thing about me making the outlines is I get first pick of shit, and I usually always pick the first couple videos because they're the easiest. And I'm really bad at this shit. Ha!
That's the
Suck it,
beauty, man. You,
Avery.
pick the
Oh
outline.
no, we haven't noticed.
You spend the
Yeah.
time making the outline. You get the first pick of what's easy.
Oh yeah, brother. But I make up for it by writing kick-ass cryptid stuff. Patreon.com/deletetedpod or deleted.com. Subscribe. You'll get Cryptid Corner.
and
But
then
anyway.
we make up for it by rushing through all of it.
Yeah, check out our last Cryptid Corner where I speed run the episode. Actually,
I'm not gonna lie, that was one of my tops.
fantastic.
It was one of my tops. It was pretty great.
That
I'm looking
was
back
the
and
disappointment on Mike's face when he came downstairs and realized that we had 4 sentences left was palpable. It was so funny.
it was pretty great. But we're not talking about cryptids today. Well, we kind of, I guess.
we
could
are
say
later.
we are.
Hey,
Yeah, we are later. Maybe.
stop
But
lying. God.
anyway, so today I'm going to be covering the first 5 videos here. I'm going to skim through a couple of them, as some of them are just kind of like throwaway videos, I guess you could say. But there is Call Now, Home, Attention, Starfield, and Star Kill. Call Now is
Should we
literally like one
mention
of those.
that this is a YouTube channel? That you-
Yes, it's a YouTube channel,
Yeah.
Midwest Angelica. Probably should have said that before.
killing it
Thank
today,
you.
Mike.
Thank you. I'm on top of my game.
183 episodes in. Figured
Can you
we'd learn
tell
something.
that I'm totally not sick and don't have a sigh and also don't have
Yeah.
a fever?
Mike, I will
Um,
try and give you a break tonight because I know that your sickness is probably affecting how you're thinking.
Thank you.
He's down with the sickness right now.
So the first episode, Call Now, is a very quick thing. It's one of those like old infomercials you find online, like old commercials where it's like, this could be yours for a one payment of $19.99, blah blah blah. But it's talking about this VHS for a movie called Midwest Angelica, and it's kind of going over the plot. It's basically saying things like, when a corpse fell from the cosmos, what did Earth do? You can pick up your copy of Midwest Angelica today for only $16.99 plus shipping and handling. Call within the next 15 minutes and you'll get a free poster. Which, aren't they always just kind of giving that shit away? Because how do they, that shit already, like, how do they know it's within a 15-minute time frame? Because don't they already have that shit set up and ready to go?
They don't. It's called
Yeah, so
scare
that shit's
tactic.
already, yeah, that shit's all like you're always going to get the poster no matter when you call, right?
That's the gist of it. Hopefully,
Yeah.
I figured. That's it for the first episode. The second little video here is
That's
called
because they're a scam.
Home. No.
Oh,
The second video,
Well, now you have
Home,
to pay $3.99 to access the thing you just paid for.
this is probably one of the greatest bits of like YouTube that I've seen in a very long time. You're gonna see this a lot as we go through this series, but this thing is beautiful. Like the guy put in the work on this fucking series, and you could tell this shit looks awesome. Um, Home is a bit longer of a video. It's 8.5 minutes long, and basically, what it goes over is, in 1985, NASA discovers this new object in space by Jupiter. They named this object AZ001. Um, they decide that they're going to run some tests to see if they can find any life on this this object. They think at the moment they think it's just some like asteroid. So they're like, don't know if there's life on it or not. We're gonna have to find out. Turns out they figure out that the object itself is alive, or at least it was. Bum bum bum. The object, according to the
What?
NASA, seems to be a corpse. So that's fucking
Oh.
eerie. Yeah.
I wonder how. Okay, I'm sorry to cut you off, but that
Wouldn't
actually
a corpse be
makes
cold
me
though? like-
really cold. But I wonder how many corpses are orbiting Earth.
I know there's monkey corpses
Probably
and a dog corpse.
none.
Does that count as a corpse, Mike?
I mean,
Well,
it's a
no,
dead thing.
didn't Sputnik come back down? I mean, it's not still out there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't mean like the things that everyone's heard about. I have no idea how many manned missions to space, at least to orbit, there have been, and I don't know how many of those have never returned.
tune
Maybe
into our
that's
next
what,
episode where we cover conspiracy theories. And
I don't know. I think probably not many. I mean, you
Yeah.
could look that up, I guess, but like most astronauts, if they die on re-entry. And most things that go into orbit like are gonna fall eventually because they're like slowly coming back.
Mhm.
But yeah, unless you
some
hit
died on
obviously a static velocity of falling.
some die on re-outry as well.
Re-outry.
Re-entry.
They went out, they
Re-ouchie.
More
went
like
in, but they want to go back out. They can't.
More like re-ouchie. I'm dying.
yep.
Help.
Sorry, Mike. That was just a random thought. Go ahead.
It's okay.
I can actually
So-
answer that question though,
You
but
actually
I
don't
won't
have to,
because I
though.
don't want
Yeah.
to give it away.
So again, this is all taking place in 1985. NASA has done a bunch of research, and they expect that this corpse object is going to reach Earth by 1999. So they form up a department at NASA called HOME. It is the Heavenly Operation and Material Examination Department. HOME is basically created solely to investigate and research AZ001. Home HQ is also located in Newport, Nebraska, which kind of comes into play later. It is being run by the lead physician, who is Dr. Lucas Michaels. He is the lead physician over at Home. It goes on to also mention that he goes missing in 1989, 2 years after Home was founded. Home was founded in 1987 to do more research on this object. So, 1995 comes into play now, and we're hearing from a man named Dr. Ray O'Connor. He is the head of research over at Home. And this man discovers that AZ001 has these like brain waves that are coming out of it, beta waves. He mentions that they're very similar to the type of beta waves that humans give off when we're in like deep sleep. So he's like, yep, we're figuring out a bunch of shit about this weird thing. So 1999 comes up, June 1st, New Year's. AZ001 passes by the moon. We get a visual of this as well. And again, this whole thing looks very well. Like I don't know about you guys, I got Vita Carnis vibes off this. Like
This whole
hella
thing
bad.
is
Oh,
very
yeah.
similar to Vita Carnis, even like the
Mm.
imagery later in the series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Oh my God. Yeah.
this and that are I would argue up like top tier when it comes to these type of like analog-ish horror. Just because like you can tell they put in the fucking work.
Yeah.
Um,
There's some things I prefer about this, but there's also I think some of the imagery in Vita Carnis I prefer. I don't know. We can talk about that later.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Neat.
June 1st, it passes by the moon. Or January 1st, sorry. January 13th, AZ001 passes into our atmosphere. We do get photos of this thing in our atmosphere as well. And it kind of looks like tentacles, sort of, the photos that they get. It looks tentacly. It's very ominous already. And already we're like, oh gosh, this is some Lovecraftian shit, I bet. After getting these photos, 3 days later, on January 16th, a chunk of AZ001 actually separates off of the main piece. They call this one AZ001 Alpha, and it separates and then lands in Nebraska. We get like visual of like us tracking its course as it like crashes to the earth. After this, we are given like found footage style visuals of a crew that is sent out to investigate the crash site, and they're in like full hazmat gear. It's at this point when they get to the site that you hear this like screech, and you hear a guy shout, it's alive, and it pans over to it, and you just see this giant tentacle coming like out of like the earth essentially. And you hear it like screeching, like it's kind of an upsetting noise. While the screeching's going on, it cuts over to one of the hazmat members, and he is just flamethrower in this fucking thing, just scorching, just scorching everything. It's great.
It's definitely the coolest shot in this
It
video.
really is.
Yeah, I don't know
actually,
if the thing that's on his head is like actually a thing that's on his head, or if it's like a 3D model of just a cylinder that's been like stuck on top of his head. But it looks sick as fuck.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's the thing. This like hazmat suit, it looks like kind of like
Giving,
like Mysterio, like how he's got that like
Yeah,
circular
yeah.
globe, but instead of
Yeah.
that, it's more cylinder than
it's
Yeah.
giving marshmallow.
I think it is a
Yeah,
3D,
yeah, yeah.
3D model,
Yeah.
but it's like it's blended so well that it's.
It is. And
The
shot
I
with the
really, real
flamethrower.
quick. I'm sorry, but I thought this was really neat, and I just had to say this because this is like the best part. All the programs that this person used to make this were free. And
Yeah,
it's fucking sick, because it's just like Blender and like some like free photo editing stuff, like kind of crazy. I'm just saying.
I should mention this
Fucking
too.
awesome.
While they're like tracking AZ001 through space, you get like vector graph looking like graphics and shit.
Yeah.
I love that shit so much.
Dude, that reminded me of the Alien movies so much, and like
Yeah.
I am here for that.
Yep, and
Yeah.
that's like a reoccurring thing throughout this. Those like
Oh, yeah.
vector, like grid graphics. I love that shit so much.
They're insanely
yeah.
well done.
Yeah. So the guy's flamethrower and everything, which someone in the comments was like, why are they flamethrowing? This thing came from this thing like re-entered in our gravity and it was able to survive that. Do you think a flamethrower is gonna help? Maybe, yeah. And also that's just, I feel like, protocol, like, because you're gonna go scorched earth. Burn it. Fuck it. Who cares? Anyway. So you notice a hazmat member, they're like starting to bug out a little bit. Like he's just like standing still at one point, and he like looks down at his hands, and this shit was fucking creepy as hell and awesome.
It's
He
the
like looks down
coolest
at his
shot in the
hands,
entire series. Honestly,
I
but it's
like the last
fucking
shot.
cool.
but it is, and you can see it's the
It's real
thumbnail even.
fucked.
It's the thumbnail for the fucking video. But he like looks
Yeah.
down at his hands, and all this like blood just comes like oozing out of his helmet. And it's so fucking cool.
Is it blood, or is he like melting?
I
It's
thought it
that
was.
one.
I interpreted it as blood,
Here's-
but
I mean, I
maybe
guess it
not.
would be
I will-
it would be both. If your flesh is like melting, it's all
Yeah.
just gonna come.
That's fair.
it-
That is
rotting out
that's
of
It
the
is
bucket.
very
yeah.
specifically, Doug. I'm pretty sure it is what you just said, and I'll once I get to my section, I'll.
I
tell you
know
guys.
why. Yeah, I know why. So you
Yeah.
now that in hindsight, you're probably right. It is probably melting.
100%.
But it's just oozing out of his fucking helmet, and his hands, he's just like holding them up, like, and it's all just dripping down. It's fucking awesome. And then you see like it's like the last shot is like the other hazmat guy like running for his fucking life, and then it pans to it like stops, and it's just focusing on the helmet from the guy who's just like was just like oozing out of his helmet. It's like the helmet's on the ground, and you see this like tentacly thing like come out of it, kind of like a octopus coming out of a jar. You know what I mean? Like it like
Mhm.
kind of grooves around. It's fucking awesome.
Or tentacles coming out of a butthole.
Or tentacles coming out of a butthole.
Mhm.
That's the
The
better
latter
way of
for
putting
sure.
it. The next video is called Attention. It's 50 seconds long. Literally, it's just one of those like, attention, if you live in this county, get the fuck
Fuck
out.
yourself.
Yeah, get the fuck out of there. And some of them are like Cass County, Fremont County, Mills County. It's just areas in Nebraska. But that's all there is to that one. The next one is Starfield. This one had my favorite visual. Like that one with the bleeding was like awesome, but this next one has my favorite.
You think
And
this
we'll
is
get
where
to it in a
Todd
second.
Howard got his ideas?
Who's Todd Howard?
Bethesda guy.
Huh?
Just continue.
Okay. So, Starfield. This takes place on January 16th on Starfield Ranch. We are introduced to the ranchers that live here.
Starfield or Stardust?
Starfield.
Starfield.
Okay. Important distinction.
Is there one named Stardust?
Go
Ooh,
check out
there
our episode on Stardust Ranch that we did.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's a
got
guy
you.
who kills aliens with katanas, and it's great.
Yeah,
Sick.
it's pretty sick, dude.
He is my hero. So we're introduced to our ranchers, Avery Jones and Colin Jones, his son. Avery Jones wakes up to his dogs barking at 4:31 a.m. His son Colin is recording all of this as it happens. You see the two go out into like their pasture, I guess you could say, and they're just sitting at like the gate and they're like, "What's going on?" And the dad's like, "I don't know." He's like, "Well, where's Rocky?" I'm assuming they're talking about the dog. And he's like, "Rocky's he's not here." And like kind of being a little ominous about it. But you just hear barking in the distance. And the barking kind of like starts to like muffle out. Like it just gets like the dog is kind of just like goes from like barking to a whimper, you know, that whole thing. Um so
Yeah.
yeah. So as this happens, it's kind of like the still shot on this like farm like fence, and you see this like thing, like as he's moving the camera, you see this weird like I don't want to keep using the word tentacle, but it really is just kind of like a tentacly thing
It looks
all
like
the
a
time.
neuron. Like just a
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
And
my
it just
god.
kind of just kind
Yes.
of like slithers like under the fence a little bit and it just kind of cuts. So the next bits of the video are apparently um not usable. There's some still images that they were able to pull, but other than that, the rest is like just trash. But the still images that were able to be found, um, by the way, this is all being recorded from home. Like home has all this information. This is kind of like a video that home has created for like training purposes and whatnot. Um, but these still images they show us, and you see like these two deer. One is being like overtaken by like it looks it's like the thing from the movie The Thing. It's like being taken over and like assimilated by
Oh, like
this
the
thing.
dog scene.
Yeah, it's literally like the dog scene. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
And you see this other deer, like right next to it, kind of like in the act of also being assimilated. Um, you also hear gunshots going on in this as well. And then we get a jump cut
gunshots are
to
audible, as it says.
yeah, gunshots are audible and just pew pew pew. We get a jump cut over to Avery Jones, who is also being like assimilated. It even says Avery Jones assimilation, and it's like him. His whole head is being like taken over by this thing.
It's kind of hot,
Legit,
honestly.
like yeah,
This
like the
this thing looks like the
style.
fucking Jersey Devil. Like I don't even know like what to call it.
It's
It's like a wolf, deer.
So it's deer, but the other thing is the dog.
With, well, no, I know, but everything like mushes together. You know what I'm saying? So like it ends
Yeah.
up looking like this fucking like the Jersey fucking Devil because it's just an amalgamation of shit.
Yeah, they
Full
definitely
dick out and
took
everything.
they definitely took like
Full dick.
they
Whole
definitely
dick.
took inspiration from John Carpenter's The Thing with this like Hundo P. But anyway, so we jump cut to Avery. He's being assimilated. You see his head being taken over. You see Colin just running to his house to hide from this creature. And then like a super creepy shot happens where he goes to his house. He pans over to a window and he's like freaking out. He's breathing all heavy. And you see this thing just like float up into the window. You know what I mean? Like you see this thing's head like pop up, and it's pretty creepy. It just like cuts, and all you see Colin is running upstairs. He's shouting at Mom. He's like, "Mom, are you here?" The only thing he finds is more tentacles and shit. So this thing is already at his house, and assumed to have taken over his family. Colin runs out of his house, and we get a shot of a cow that is like a silhouette of a cow on like the horizon because like the sun's coming up, and you see these like shapes just like coming out of the cow. It's kind of fungal, you know what I mean? Like those videos
Oh,
of
like Last of
like
Us,
when I wouldn't say The Last of Us. It's kind of like
the
those videos
zombie
of like
fungus.
kind of, yeah, where you see like the like grasshopper or whatever is taken over, and you see the fungus just like it's like splitting out of their exoskeleton and shit. It looks
Mhm.
like that. It's very creepy. Um,
Do you know what fungus was used in The Last of Us, Mike?
no.
The zombie fungus. Anyway, continue.
Makes sense, I suppose. They are zombies. So the cow's being assimilated, and we then see what is assumed, and this is my favorite shot. You see what is assumed to be Avery Jones, or at least even potentially an amalgamation of the whole family, because it's just like one person, and the head is this giant, spiky, tentacly thing. It's huge. It's like the size of like 4 people on the body of one person, and it's got this giant sunrise behind it, and it is so fucking cool looking. And I highly recommend watching this again because the visuals are fucking insane. Um,
Yeah, follow along.
Yeah, it's
as all
Like-
of
Oh,
this is
I know.
happening, as all this is happening, you see like small bits of text like popping up on the screen, like it says like Avery's assimilation, um, Colin's panicking, and things like that. The last bit of text you see is with this like one person over the sunset, the sunrise, and it just says like family. So I assume that means that that's like that's like their entire family shaped into one kind of being. The final shot we get is the camera on its side. It's assumed you don't see Colin anymore, and the battery's about to die. It's one of those where it's assumed that Colin got. Um, you see like these giant fungal stacks, like they look like mushrooms, like all around the house. You see like this like these like spores all over in the air and everything. It's a very creepy looking scene.
And then it
And
transforms into a Toyota Supra, and Vin Diesel rides out.
family.
and then and then all of the spores become coronas
Yeah.
because family. But that's where it ends. It ends on that shot. And again, it's so beautifully done. My last bit here is called Star Kill. And essentially what this one is Home is showing how fast the assimilation process is. They were able to get a sample of um AZ001, and they're like putting it under microscopes and shit to see what's going on. In literal milliseconds, it shows you how fast this thing just takes over its host. It takes up to 400 milliseconds for this thing to completely take over the host. And you see like the cells breaking down and then just becoming this weird, like jaggedy, Matt said it best, like neuronish uh,
Yeah.
appearance. It's at this point that Home decides that they need to destroy this thing by any means necessary. This is the start of Project Starkill. And that's where I
end.
end on my bits.
Aw.
Pretty wild stuff. That video definitely
Beautiful.
speaks
I
for
love it.
itself as
Dude,
far as
the part where the blood is just coming out of the mask, I 100% agree. Like,
It's fucking they
fucking cool.
right off the rip went hard. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh yeah, you know what you're in for when you see it.
Mm-hmm. Who's next?
that would be me. I'm
Oh.
next.
What do you got for us, Doug?
All right, so the next video in the series is called Phantoms. And this word is actually kind of important, so keep that in the back of your mind as we go through this. But the description for this video says it's actually super important. And I didn't catch this until my second watch through, but it says the footage on the tape documents the events believed to have irreparably impeded Holmes' ability to safely study AZ001. The tape was found inside an underground bunker 12 miles west of Lincoln, Nebraska. One wall within the bunker was painted with a logo similar but not identical to the logo that's used by Home.
Mm.
So this video starts off with a timeline of events. And the first one we see is Dr. Andrew Evans returns to the Alpha Chunk for more analysis. We get a sound only audio of Dr. Evans basically visiting the Alpha Chunk with a team, and you can hear him coughing. and he's talking about the sample collection and marking the area, and they call for a retrieval team because
It's
they,
never it's never a good sign when you're introduced to a guy and the first thing they do is you know?
yeah,
Always
and I
smells bad.
mean, clearly, it's alluding to something not good, right? And because he starts coughing, the guy's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." So, once the audio ends, we get a picture and we can see Dr. Evans just standing next to this thing, and he's got a hazmat suit on, but only a fucking like N95 mask. That's all he has between him and the chunk.
The
So
chunk.
the chunk. But that being said, the next thing in the line, the timeline is Dr. Evans returns to the psych lab at home HQ, and we get this like recreated scenario with dots. I said with an exclamation mark. Basically, what you see is a diagram of the lab, and we get this like literal replay of what happened. So it says while at the labs, Evans takes longer to get a refill of water from his cooler. He goes into the sample storage, and then he goes over to the supply closet, and then you see him walk over to this water cooler. And it specifically is like he was at the water cooler longer than normal. So then after he goes to the water cooler, he goes and he has a discussion with Dr. O'Connor, who we are familiar with already.
Yep, he's the head
Now
researcher at home.
when they start talking, there's some really shadiness going on. He immediately is like, "Hey, you want some water?" And then
Take this.
Take this, drink it now.
it's pretty clear with what we saw in the last video that the speed at which something becomes infected by the AZ001 is really fucking fast, and you can kind of tell that this isn't right, that he's probably already infected, and now we can only assume he's now infected the drinking water in the lab.
Yeah.
So after this, it says Dr. Evans displays unusual behavior, and we get a video of him like sitting at his desk, just fucking like exorcisting.
I do love that. They're just unusual behavior. He's just like
like his arms are bending the complete wrong way and shit.
his neck snapped backwards. Like
It's just
very-
it's not worrying. It's just a little
Just a
strange.
little wacky.
definitely
Yeah.
a little
Off day.
strange.
Mondays, am I right, guys?
Seriously. So next it says it makes his way to another part of the facility, and he stops at a storage unit for unknown reasons. Then it notes that home HQ is put into lockdown after a series of gunshots are fired. You see Dr. Evans like in this hallway, and he just full blown does like that part in the thing where like the guy fully turns into like that bulbous monster, and like the head elongates super high, and it's just not good. And then it probably is like, he was terminated, like just like
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah, they're using the
So-
same the same reason that we said this has like Vita Carnus like vibes is because they're using like Unreal Engine or something to like make these visuals.
It's just Blender.
Is it just Blender? Yeah. So
Yeah, it's just Blender.
but yeah, they're definitely using like 3D
It's just
models
Blender.
for this, which I enjoy that they did.
It's just window. Anyways, so the next part is it says they brought his body to the morgue for an autopsy, and this was about 8:09. So all the other events, it's same day, but took place about noonish. And there's like a weird 8-hour kind of like lapse of where Dr. Evans is terminated, and then when his body goes to the morgue. And they show the x-rays of the body, and it's just like covered in it, like his bones look like Swiss cheese, and like he's got all this like string, like all these stringers like inside of his body. You can tell that
mold,
yeah, it's not great. Get out of here, buddy.
Man.
And fucking so what it ends up saying is that that he was assassinated by an unknown third party. And if we go back to the description of this, that leads me to believe that this other fake home team might be the ones that assassinated him, because they were on top of that shit. Let me tell you.
See, I took that as like them just using that as like a cover up so they don't have to say that he was infected with some alien disease.
The only
That's what
reason
took
that
from that.
The only reason I
Same
don't
thing, I
think it's
guess.
that is because they're actively researching this
Yeah.
terribleness. So like they know like already that there's bad
I'm on board with Doug, and
happening.
I'll tell you why, Mike.
No,
Later.
I just never thought of that. That makes sense now. I didn't think of
Yeah.
it that way. I thought that was like a police report, and they were just hiding it on like a police report. But that makes
Yeah,
some sense there.
No, I mean it's internal, so like it would make sense for
Mhm.
them to like tell like what actually happened, right?
Yeah.
So the last thing it says is a vial of AZ001 sample was missing after the incident. Also something that's missing is fucking Dr. O'Connor.
Check his ass.
Check his ass. But that's pretty much it on that one. Now the next video is only 33 seconds, and it's a public access, just like here's what's on the TV today, and then it's like, Long Pine Midwest Church invites you to their weekly service, blah 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 blah, and then
I loved this.
it's like, oh shit, like the church would like to extend their gratitude to the following individuals, and sure as shit, let's check this list out, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Diane Briggs, John Carlisle, Lindsay Chatfield, Paula Horowitz, fucking Ray O'Connor, Aaron Mathis, David Rhodey, and Sarah Withrow. Ray O'Connor, huh?
I love how this
Ray
tiny
O'Connor.
little, not to like spoil too much. I just love how this tiny like 30-second video plays such a big
Oh my
part
god, I
later on.
know.
It's
Yeah,
so
this is
It's
actually
huge.
really
Yeah.
important.
Dude,
And
the
we'll go over
shortest
that.
videos have some of the most information. It's great.
It's so after I did my research, I watched a couple other people's like videos on this. One being Nightmine because he's everywhere, obviously. But he made a really good point. He says like almost all of the videos in this series make the full use of the time that they have.
Mm.
And I think it's absolutely true. I feel like there's no
Oh my God,
wasted
yeah.
time in this. Like there's no like you're not just sitting there like waiting for something to happen. You don't feel like there are a couple long episodes, but like you don't feel
You're hooked.
like it's wasted. Like you're like shit. Like that was all that information was needed here.
Mhm.
Yeah, whenever I was watching this, I felt like I almost felt like the videos ended too soon simply because I was like just so invested in every minute, every second of like every frame.
Every hour, every
Right.
day.
Thank you, Matt.
But that little episode now leads into this longer episode at 9 minutes, and it's called Azazel. Now, the description of this says the tape is the second of 2 cassettes found in a collapsed remains of a house in Stewart, Nebraska. Most buildings in the Long Pine ruins were found to be destroyed with a large crater discovered near the site of the former church building. The circumstances surrounding the crater's formation are currently under investigation. So just right there, that gives us our biggest clue is that we're now involving this church into the mix of things, right?
Yeah.
So the video starts off with like a police property like intro from February 20th of 1999. This is a few weeks after the incident with Dr. Evans. And the video is a recount of the 2 officers, Page and Webster, on 2/11 and 2/12. Both of them were killed in the line of duty. And this tape is basically a way for them to try and determine what the cause of death was.
You know what's disappointing?
You?
Yeah, this was it sucks that they both died because this baby cop was just a couple weeks away from retirement. And he had to go and get killed.
That's solid actually. I'll let that
Damn
one
it.
slide. Fuck, where am I? Okay, so all right, so this is where it begins. We got a missing person advert is aired on TV for a missing persons of John Carlisle, Aaron Mathis, David Rhodey, and Sarah Withrow, who are
Wild.
all a part of the church from the last fucking video that we saw in that shout out.
Why are they missing?
Why are they doing that? Right?
What it is?
Yes. It's pretty clear at this point, if you're putting 2 and 2 together, that it's very likely that the missing Dr. O'Connor might have gone to church about it. So we'll just keep going. So the police receive a call from an unknown number.
Church, make me part of your weird fleshy alien mass.
I have this vial shoved right up my ass.
Take me to
Hell
Bleep.
yeah.
All right, so the police receive a call from an unknown number. This person is next door to the church, and he's freaking out. He's kind of talking all alone. He's like, there's a fucking sacrifice going on next door. I think it's some pagan. I can hear the screaming, and they're definitely sacrificing someone. It's
Definitely murder.
it's giving like a straight Midwesterner, like just being like, I don't know
Oh,
what's going on there. Some guys are just murdering a guy. I don't know.
Bunch of hosers out there just doing a big murder, eh?
That's not how
Just
this
doing
person
a big
sounds at
murder.
all either. But that's kind of the vibe I was getting while I was watching this. But anyway, so this is when the two officers are sent out to investigate. They're like, ah, shit, we got some fucking pagans out here. We gotta go kill them. So
we gotta kill him.
we gotta get the
Fucking
pagans.
gotta.
So we get body cam footage from Paige, and we get some photos that he took. And we see some just like creepy inner church footage, and then we get some photos of what looks like possibly like some sort of like book or scrolls or something that someone was writing on. One says Blood Angel, flesh and blood of the stars, blissfully closer to the sacred realm, ascended beyond mortals.
Is this
We have
where
become apostles of Azazel, and
is this where My Chemical Romance gets the name for all their songs?
yeah. No, actually this is Fall Out Boys. But
Oh yeah, there you go.
so the last page of this book that we see shows this big tower structure looking thing, and it says altar. It seems that these churchgoers were performing some sort of sacrifice in the name of this angel. And now we know that the name is Azazel, and the thing that has been causing all this shit is AZ001.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be the same?
I would imagine so.
Yeah, it's crazy,
I
right?
have a strange question, Doug, that I don't know if you know the answer to or not.
Yes.
So they labeled this thing AZ001, right?
Mhm.
And
They
this
did.
assumedly was before they knew its name.
That is a great point, Jason. The head guy that found this thing could possibly have had some sort of influence from this thing before it even got to the earth, as far as we can kind of see what's happening. That's kind of a stretch at this point in things, but it could be assumed that maybe there is some sort of, connection.
I just caught that, and I'm like, huh.
No, I'm a good plot hole. This is the worst analog horror 0 out of 10.
No, no. It's not a plot hole.
I will actually go over that bit of things. Well, I won't go
Yeah.
over it. Somebody might go over it. I don't know.
I will.
Someone's covering it. Okay, cool. Perfect. Then you got it. So anyways, we see this shot of Paige in a tunnel, and this is the last time he's been seen. I'm not sure who took the picture because it wasn't Webster, but their body wasn't recovered. Paige's body wasn't recovered, but they're assumed dead. And we'll kind of get to what may have happened in a little bit. So it switches over to Webster, and you see them searching outside for a source of this like disturbance, right? And the body cam footage shows him coming across this like massive unknown structure, which we now know is an altar. And basically, we see this thing, and it's just fucking covered in assimilated bodies. And now it's kind of clear, like, those 4 churchgoers were not the only thing being assimilated into this structure.
Hell no.
Once you see like the images, if you're watching this and not just listening, this shit is fucking wild.
Yeah,
like
it's
it looks
fucked up.
so
It's-
crazy. There's just like bodies stuck everywhere to this thing, and it's
Everywhere.
it's pretty crazy.
If anyone's ever seen like the paintings that are referenced in like Dante's Inferno, like from the Divine Comedy, like this reminded me of that, like to the letter almost.
But they're all
yeah,
like
this is also a
thrown together.
really big. Sorry, what was that?
Oh yeah,
They're
that's
all
like
like
the third
thrown
circle
together.
of hell.
So they're like
Oh, yeah.
it's similar to the forest, like the weird fucking things in the forest. Have you ever played that?
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my god. Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of references to Ava here too, if you're a fan. But so once we see this thing, this mass of people, you can kind of tell that Webster, the one that we're seeing like their camera footage of, begins to like be distressed, and it's really fucking clear that now they're infected. And the last thing we see is like from above, like the shot looks like it's from above like a tree line almost, and there's just like this guy's head like above the tree line, and then it just like totally becomes like more twisted and fucked up and shit. And then the footage cuts. Webster's body was found, but the cause of death is unknown. I can only assume that his body turned to mush. And basically what ends up happening is the CIA basically says, all right, we found the body, we have the footage, and now a guy named Robert Spencer is in control of this like investigation, whatever you want to call it. And basically the CIA gains control of the area, and they're like, all right, we have to, like, the police, you have to remain quiet or we're gonna beat you up. And then yeah, so they're basically keeping it on the hush hush. They're like, this is fucked up, we have to get this area on lockdown. And that's the end of that video. The next video is called Stages. And the description of this one, it says, this tape was recovered from what is believed to have been the remains of a home convoy on US Route 183. And based on all the recovered footage from 2/23/1999, this seems to be the last time any new material was created by the original home group. So keep that in mind too, that we may see more home footage, but this is the last actual home
More home
footage.
movies.
So basically this is just observing the stages of the Starkill infestation. And the first one is the sustenance hunt, and it basically just absorbs any available biomass to feed itself, just to get going.
Can I ask a question about something that was not clear to me as I was watching this? Like, in one of the earlier videos, they say that the operation to basically stop this thing from destroying humanity is called Operation Starkill. But then at some point, without really explaining why, they just start calling this thing Starkill.
So this is kind of this video actually might explain that a little bit, and this is my assumption. I don't know if this is right or not, but basically the second step in this video for the stages of infestation is Starkill. It's called intelligence accumulation, and it starts to eat all of the smartest life forms, so the people on the earth, and basically, without giving too much away, it so when it absorbs things, it kind of like gains the knowledge on that thing, right?
Yeah.
It's the thing.
Oh yeah.
So my thought on that is that most of the original home at this point has been eaten by Starkill.
Right.
And now what's left is this other group of people who we can only assume is fake home. I don't know, actually.
Right.
There's a lot of questions still.
It's like so there's infected home, and there's like almost like an outpost of non-infection, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I have it. I have a theory as to why it is that they changed like the terminology, but I didn't.
I do too.
I don't know. Maybe this would be better for later because I don't want to ruin anything. But.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's a lot of speculation that could be done, and these speculations of mine are just things that I've written down as I went through it, and not what I know now, if that makes sense.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't know if there was like a reason why that I missed, but okay.
What are you guys
I don't
talking
think
about?
so.
I was gone for a second.
Yeah, so like,
were you
earlier in the videos they mentioned that Starkill is the operation to keep this thing from destroying human life, but then and like two videos later, they start referring to the thing itself as Starkill.
Matt, keep that just in the back of your mind.
Yeah, that's what we just.
It's not super important right now, but it by the time my videos are done, it will be.
All right, so getting back to the stages of the Starkill infestation. I just talked about intelligence accumulation, but the next step is self-replication. So when this thing has enough biomass obtained into itself, it can replicate itself from hubs, hard quotes, gung gung, And these hubs include such things as altars, which make small life forms, and what's also called a temple, which produce bigger ones. So one thing I want to mention about this is that question we had in the beginning of why did this dead carcass have life form on it? Well, clearly it broke off and had something inside of it. We can only assume that Alpha Chunk possibly was a temple and released whatever, now. So, yeah, so now we know that these things are going to start spreading and replicating asexually because
It's like the movie
that's how they
Evolution
do it.
with David Duchovny and that other guy.
It's like Flubber.
It's like
David Duchovny and that other guy.
I don't know who the other guy is. I just know that he was in the movie.
All right, so but there is a theorized fourth stage that does exist or might exist, and that's when the Starkill network reaches a critical mass. But it is unknown what will happen when this occurs or if this will occur. But theories suggest that in a year from February 23rd, 1999, that the network known as Starkill will be almost as big as America, which isn't great. So now this video actually is technically the end of Act 1 according to YouTube and the creators' little playlists. So that being said, I have one more video which starts off the second act, and it's called Easter. And boy howdy, this video was pretty cool. And I guess if you were watching along or watching and then now listening, pretty clear that there's a lot of distressing images and noises that you're going to see along through this whole thing. This one is one of those. And the description of this is a bunch of letters and numbers. And if you translate it through base 64, it just says knowledge. And that's all that's in the description. So this video, it's basically them looking at the research of how this Starkill network communicates within itself. And basically they determine that parts of the chunk from any kind of distance are able to send information into the main alpha chunk no matter where they are. So any information that one chunk knows, they can send to the alpha chunk, and they essentially all just talk together. They are a hive mind, so to say. And there are parts of these, the alpha chunk, that are called Podolsky neurons. And this seems to be that they do this long distance communicating. Now, this series of neurons between all of the chunks and the separate biomass is referred to as the Akashic plane. And now Home says, we need to be able to reach this plane. We need to be able to insert ourselves into this plane so that we know what they know, and we can, maybe do something about this.
We know what they know that we know.
Exactly. So Home begins to test these interactions with the Akashic plane on 3/15/1999. And this is where shit gets weird. And now, Matt, I'm going to have you do this the best you can. But basically, they start testing this on a test subject by putting some of these Podolsky neurons into the test subject's spinal cord. Mm-hmm. This test subject, their name is Stanley Vega. So please keep that in mind. Now,
yes.
So that being said, we get like these close-up images of this dude's face after they infect him, essentially, and then they're asked to do a series of tests by simply re-entering the original information that they put into this like little form, right? So the first test pretty normal, and then they go to the second test, and they have him re-enter his information, and it's pretty much all the same. And then they mention that he actually thinks that he's being tested for infection, not being tested on, which is kind of wacky.
Yeah, pretty fucked up.
There's a lot of that.
But so after the second test, and he puts in the information, the like birth date changes and some like the testing name or the testing like catchphrase it changes, and basically, he all of a sudden has very intimate details known about John Carlyle. And if we remember that name, that was from one of the churchgoers that was missing, or on the list of churchgoers. And we can only assume now that he's becoming like sort of linked to this this Akashic network or Akashic plane.
His like, I guess like safety phrase or whatever even changes to like go to church every Sunday or something like that.
Yep. So the testing that changes, and then the last test that we see, all the answers become Easter. So name, date of birth, location, Easter. And then it cuts to one last little bit of video, and we get a I don't even know what to call it, like a commercial for an Akashic probe. And it's just up for a very brief moment at the very end, and it seems like home Delta is looking to find a better way to get information on the Akashic plane. But they have to have those Podolsky neurons to actually do it.
They be probing.
But yeah, no, that's where my videos end. Man, it's what a journey so far.
Here's your outro for you. Wowie zowie, everyone.
Wowie zowie.
Totally
It's been a while since we've done that.
Totally didn't figure out this is a two-parter. So here we are.
Doug, you did a really good job. I'd like to cheers to you and everybody else who stuck with us for that. So cheers, everybody. Cheers to you. Cheers to me. If we ever disagree, then fuck off.
Yep.
But as Mike said, this is going to have to be a two-parter because I alone have a lot more information. I'm not 100% sure on how much Matt has, but the end of the series it's a lot. It's really good, but it's a lot. So please come listen to us again next week. The rest of this shit is insane. Like I loved every second of my videos. There's so much more to go over.
Yeah, take this time to go and watch the series. Like them, follow them, give them those views.
This is
do that.
This is way better than many other analog horrors that have way more views and subscribers.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, it's criminal almost.
Even Alex really Kister said so on one of the videos.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's like the top comment on one of the earlier videos.
Dude, I'm so upset that we didn't do this earlier. If I'm being 100% honest, like this is so good.
I feel that way, but then sometimes I'm like, no, it's better we're doing it later on. Now that we're
I think I appreciate it more now. Whereas if we had done this in a big group of other analog horrors, I would have been like, I wouldn't have appreciated it as much.
That's fair.
Yeah.
If this was like fourth in a line of 4 or 5 analog horrors, yeah. Or if we did this right after Ash Vlogs, I don't think we would have had the capacity to enjoy it.
Sure. Sure. Just going to go ahead and say deluded.com or patreon.com/deludedpod. Go to those things, sub if you want. Find us on all our socials everywhere. We either don't look under the internet or deludedpod. Send us an email, deludedpod@gmail.com. That's all I got. See you in part 2 of motherfucking Midwest Angelica, everybody.
Whoop, whoop. In part 2, you idiots.
Stay paranoid, I guess. Bye.
Slap beans, ban beans.
I don't have a catchphrase. 183, and I still don't have a catchphrase.
Your new catchphrase is I don't have a catchphrase.
Yeah.
I don't have one of those.
I like it.
Don't look under the internet.